We're back. It's session 28 of the NorCal 40B. It all came around when I think it was Ed said that's not enough power. So we're going to go look and see if we can figure out where the power went. So there's a few things that are fun. One is we have a schematic that's got good test points on it. So we'll come back to that. The other is we have the OG of NorCal 40s. Well, not quite the OG. This is second generation, the 40A that came from Wilderness. So we're going to pop off its plastic removable lid and reveal the inside. So we've got something to compare against. And I guess the first place to start would be, I guess, to back up and show you what the output power is. I think we did that a bit, but maybe we're a little better prepared here. So I've got a few things ready that we have to do to make all this work. So one of them is we're going to have to peak. We'll check the drive control, and we'll check, I think it is C39, the bandpass filter out of the mixer to make sure we have that maxed out. And I don't think I'll do a separate video on it, but somebody asked me, where'd you get your red sticks? I've had these for a bunch of years, and I looked, and this one's hard plastic. This one's kind of semi-hard plastic, but the guy was right. The ones you get now are pretty soft, and the screwdriver tips always break off, and this one's got a hex on the end. So there was a little bit more clue. I think this is a screw or a nut holder from like a ancient Heath kit, and this one's even worse. They put a blank spot on it so they don't tell you who it was. This goes back even more years. This came from Ramsey with a kit, so it's fairly hard plastic too, but unfortunately I can't tell you where to get new ones because all I have is a bunch of old ones. So this is also a useful tool. It's got an exposed metal tip, but the rest of it's plastic. We're going to use on this radio, I think we'll use the plastic one because that's the only thing that fits down those caps. So we have to switch so you guys can hear the side tone. That's about the only reason. I set up 2 keys so we don't have to move the key back and forth, but this way we can hear the side tone. And then we need a bigger screwdriver to hit the drive pot. So I'll turn that all the way up. That doesn't fit. And maybe this will do. That's all the way up. We'll check the one on the 40B. That's all the way up. All right, so the first thing we'll do is check C39 and see if we can get a peak. So on this radio, we need the small plastic one. On this one, I think we need this more plastic tip. So we are looking for here right next to U4, I believe. Let me check that over here. It's easier to see. So that's C34. That's there it is, C39. So it's in the back and it's hidden under this wire. Here it is. Okay, so we will switch to the dummy load and switch the antenna jack and see if we can key. We can. So I'll back you up a little bit. We'll get, you can see the scope. That's as far as I can zoom back. There we go. And then I'll get on C39 and we'll peak that. And we're in the middle, about the middle of the band on this NorCal 48. It's got a single turn pot, so that's easier. And let's see, we are on a 1 volt. We're going to need 5. And the probe is there. That's a lot. All right. But you can tell already the power is a lot more because that's 5 volts per division and it's filling the screen. Gosh, it's hard to see around the camera. There we go. All right, we're going to peak this. Looks like it already was. Okay. And then since we're already here, we'll have output as one of our measurements. And we are, like I said, into 50 ohms. And this is the 40A column. So we have, whoops, wrong key. Gotta stop that or I'll blow up something. All right, that's pretty well on the bottom. Let's see if we can do that again. Oh, I knocked the probe off. All right, we'll put that here. $35, so it's about 36 volts peak to peak. And then, so we have a few points to measure. We've got TP3, which is the output of the transmit mixer oscillator. And then we have TP4, which is the drive. And what else do we have? We have TP... We have the base of the power transistor here is R14. We can also measure that. So let's see what we can get along the way. So it's much easier on the NorCal 40B because those tie points are actually big holes in the board. And on the NorCal 40A, I have to find the same part. So TP3 is pin 6 of U4. So let's see if we can get on that. And that is U4 right there. We'll pull off the end of the probe for that. I'm gonna reach over, I can't see across the camera here. There's pin 6. As we think, that should be low. Let's see, about 200 millivolts. I'm gonna have to turn this sideways just so I can see in it. So one of the things coming up is to get rid of all this wiring that somebody did. It's all super long and jiggly and makes the VFO shake. It's wasn't a great install, but it did work, so I'll give them full credit. All right, so there's our oscillator. I need about 4 hands. I should have made a key switch instead of trying to use the paddle. So we're going to go down. Anyway, we're just going to get the relative voltage, I guess. So there's 2, 4, 6. And we'll turn the volume down a little bit. I think that's about 700 millivolts. Which actually seems pretty good. And then TP4 is R11. And let's see if we can find that here. And that is supposed to be the drive pot. Oh yeah, so it's right out in the middle. and R11 is back there by the driver. Nice wires. Okay, there's R11. We'll get on that. That must be the ground end. That's better. I'll get the hook back. We'll see if we can get on R11 to make it stay so I can get the probe, get the scope to sync. Having this camera right in front of my face is a lot like having a dog in the room. Everywhere you want to be, that's where the dog is. All right, let's see, that's pretty good. So we'll do some sync here. There we go. And a little bit of change in frequency and some rotation there. So that is 7 megahertz. And that is the base of R11, the drive. And we're on 200 millivolts per division. Maybe we can get to 100. Yep. All right, it's a little fat on the bottom, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll call that 550 and change for R11. And then R14 is the base of the power amplifier. And I see that over there. Oh, now you guys have seen it. We've let the smoke out right in front of you. So I think the, it looks like the heat sink came loose on that transistor and caused a short. So we're going for the power switch, but I think that ends the measurements on the old NorCal 40A here, which I haven't had very long, so I haven't really looked around on it much, but now I guess we'll be forced to do a little bit of forced maintenance. But I think we got enough measurements so we can go on to the 40. I don't know if I did or not. I might have shorted with the probe from that fat heat sink that they've got sticking across that sticks out right by R11. So I may turn it back on and see if it was only a minor smoke let out or a full smoke let out. So we'll check it and see if it still receives and maybe if it still transmits. I guess that's why you go watch somebody work, isn't it? To watch the smoke come out. So let's just see if the smoke went all the way out. Well, it seems to know where it is, and it still has a volume control. Let's put it on the antenna. It'll still receive. Let's see if it'll still transmit. It doesn't look like it transmit. I didn't see any movement on the watt meter, but let me get the probe back on there and see. So I don't know if anybody saw if the ground came loose or if I shorted something, but I didn't see it exactly. So let's see what happens here. Well, I've got plenty of output power. So apparently I just let out a little smoke. I didn't really kill it. Oh, maybe I did. Because now looks like what we have on the output should really be the drive level. Yep, so we only have about a volt of output instead of 35. So I think the output transistor shorted. So there'll be no more 3.5 watts coming out of this one until I change the output. So let's move over and do some quick measurements on the 40B so we can at least fill up that table, and then I can come back and do a little action on the 40A later. So we'll switch antennas. We will switch the audio just for fun. And then we'll see the output out of the 40B. We're on okay, that's on 5 volts per division. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, about 26 volts peak to peak. So we're not hugely lower than we were. I think the voltage on the drive would be interesting. That's R11, so we'll grab that. That must be the ground end. Yep. Okay, so we have I'd say that's about 1.6 volts. So it's not a very clean looking dry signal, but we actually have more. We only measured 550 millivolts on the NorCal 40A. So that's a little bit odd. So I guess that would make me think either the output transistor or the filter at this point, because we have less output and more drive. So we either have a transistor with less gain or the filter is knocking us down. So let's see what we get on the collector. I'm not sure where's a good spot to look. We have D12 is one possibility. And let's see if that's easy to see or not. Oh yeah, there's D12 right there. So that's on the collector. So we should be able to grab that signal. And we want the cathode side of D12. Well, that's a lot. So you can see we haven't been through the low pass filter yet, but we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, about 36 or 37 volts there. That's a good sign. So we're going to add here on D12. So we got 36 volts peak to peak here. So we have 36 volts peak to peak right there, and we've got 26 here. So that's kind of the culprit becomes the output filter. So that's where I'm going to go next, is checking the number of turns and the type of cores. It looks like they're both red, so the cores are probably correct. And I'll check turns, etc. And we'll come back next time around, and because it's getting long. This was session 28. We'll come back in session 29 with trying to figure out what's different between the two radios with the filters. So I think at least we have something fairly concrete that says we know where to look. So I'll see if I can repair the smoke damage on the 40A, and I'll come back in session 29 and we'll play with the filters. So thanks for watching. See ya.